Rob is going to be managing us, so I'm now relaxed. I don't have to ask questions. But we wanted to, as would be tradition, to finish up with a bit of a summary for the day and the beginning of the next thing. What are we going to be doing? So, Rob, it's all in your hands.
Well, one thing I definitely learned from the last couple of panels is there are a lot of mean people out there trying to rip off people, which is too bad. But maybe if they will get on pray.com and turn their lives around, that would be good.
We have solutions in our ranks.
And also, there's just a lot of creative stuff going on outside. Like, I, as a personal technology journalist, spent a lot of time immersing my head in the way Apple and Google run their app stores is these weird little fiefdoms where a lot of stuff just gets overlooked. They're convenient, they're simple, but a lot of bad stuff goes on. And it's easy to forget that there's these entire other categories of mobile commerce, information, subscription, signups, whatever going on that Apple and Google have nothing to do with. If there are any Apple and Google representatives here, sorry.
Should I say my two UPs on what I've think so far? Well, I probably need a bit more of time to take it all in. And by the way, there's going to be videos later on if you want to go back, if you miss something, etc. But what stays in my mind right now is a couple of flash. One, I'll start from the last one. I love seeing an enterprise talking about their business and passionate they are, pray.com. That made it a bit real to see. And I hope we can have more of that. And that's how they really are taking and thanking you for doing all the work that you're doing. I think that's a nice way to remind us all the work. And in terms of passion, I was talking about it. We started in the morning with Ajit. I really liked Ajit's presentation. It shows another side of regulations. We've seen later with Glenn and so on, we might want to avoid to be regulated sometimes, but it's understanding what people are trying to do from their side. I think it was very good. And then the final two things that I say, there is a lot of work happening. This is a very healthy industry. So I like that we're asking tough questions, but sometimes we're not celebrating some of the success we are having. So I think we've been a bit harsh throughout the days of saying how much this is not working, this is not right. When Prater comes arrive here and says, you're doing a great job, then he says, oh, actually, yeah, you're doing a great job, guys. You deserve it, cocktails. Well, wait, not yet, not yet.
12 minutes and 17 seconds. The whole point of it is important. I mean, this, I think, is one of the most interesting industries I cover. Fixed wireline broadband, not a whole lot of things have happened, but fixed wireless, I mean, 5G to the home from T-Mobile and Verizon is, the last stats I've seen, much faster growth than anywhere else, and it's actually poaching customers from cable companies that previously were local incumbent monopolies and people had no option. And so when people ask me a lot of the time, 5G, like, I'm sorry, my car's not driving itself, I haven't had robots do surgery on me, what's this all about? I say, well, yes, some of it was a little oversold, perhaps, but it's also allowed these two wireless carriers to give people a choice in home broadband where they didn't have one before, which is really a big deal because that's been something people have complained about for as long as I've been covering broadband, which is so long ago. I didn't actually write about ISDN, but you can find me writing about how great DSL seemed in 1999.
Then, what do you think, guys? Let's start with Cliff. Welcome to recent jobs at Mavenir.
Yeah, that's correct. Right, just
so well done to represent the company. Fresh in you.
That's right. Yeah, fresh faces, and but it's good to look out across the group today and see a lot of familiar faces.
Sorry, let me see.
So it's just a little bit better. Yeah. So it was good to see a lot of familiar faces. We probably the first chance. We got together a little bit last year at Mobile World Congress Americas, but seeing a lot of the familiar faces that we've seen over the years has been really, really good. I think for me, two themes kind of popped out from today, and I think the first one is impact, and that we worked really hard in this industry, and to your point, Dario, we don't take the time sometimes to pat ourselves on the back a bit. Impact in the sense that, Chairman Pai talked about the fact that, we're enabling communications that touches people's families. People are able to stay in touch all around the world. And, or hearing from the guys at Pray.com, the impact that it's actually saving people's lives. Just last week, I was at, I go to a place called Stretch Lab, and I walked in, and I was getting texts through the day, reminding me of my appointment. And I just walked in and said, hey, what do you use? And I said, oh, we use a company, I think it's called Zip something, I don't know. And got to talking to the girl at the front desk, and she said, I used to have to use my phone to message people, and I get all these angry text messages back. She says, now I feel a little bit safer, the fact that I'm able to use my landline or the company line here to send these text messages out. And so you think about that, like just the little things, the little nuances that we have impact in people's everyday lives. And then probably the second word for me that falls out from that is a sense of pride that, we're a part of that. The fact that somebody, the guy who started, ZipWhip when you're having that conversation, or the fact that, you realize whether you're, somebody at Cineverse and you're dealing with the P2P side or A2P or it doesn't really matter. We're on the tip of the spear. You go talk to somebody that works at the DMV, while they're handing out driver's licenses or, authorizing something, right? The sense of impact that we're having, the sense of pride that I feel to be a part of this industry, the good work that, the folks at Aegis is doing to keep, ultimately consumers safe and not receiving messages. And I would also say as well is if you get the opportunity, the carriers, especially, my previous life, I ran the short code registry, so I was dealing a lot with the carriers and dealing with a lot of people in this industry. And the carriers take a lot of flack sometimes because of the walls that they build up around their customers. But if you stop and really think about what their mission is, I think it's really important at times to stop and to really thank these guys for the ecosystem that they allow us to be a part of, the fact that we can reach, millions of people as a business. And, again, sometimes I think we focus too much on EBITDA and revenue and, what's the next gen messaging going to be, that we don't actually, take some pride in the work that we've done. So, again, thank you so much for letting me be a part of this ecosystem, and thanks, MEF, for the good work that you're doing now.
Always like that. I mean, we were part of it, patting. Thank you. We're part of our bag. But John,
I was going to say wow.
You're going to say wow.
Sorry.
Well, that's good. I like wow as well.
No, that was terrific. That was really wonderful. So interestingly, the thing that really stood out to me today is that there are so many ways that the people in this room serve consumers globally and around the world. But the thing that really stood out to me from the perspective that I take in the industry is everyone's talking about the importance of trust, and that the consumers have to trust all of these channels, whether it's A2P messaging, RCS, direct carrier billing, location services, identity, services, whatever it is. Everyone that I've seen today is talking about trust for the consumers to be able to engage us. And the reality is that we are, unfortunately, in my opinion, moving a little bit away from brick and mortar. Stores and transactions, and someplace you could go back tomorrow if you don't like what you purchased, you can go back and return it. Well, the digital world, you don't know who you're talking to, or who you're dealing with, or who you're buying from. And so, creating that brick and mortar trust world in the digital world, to me, and hearing everyone talking about its importance, was very inspiring. For me too.
Yeah, the whole discussion about identity, because it is problematic how we've tried to do this. For a while, Facebook seemed pretty sure the executives there certainly seemed to think they were the layer of authentication that was never actually baked into the original internet specifications. But now mistakes were made, as they say in my city of Washington, D.C. A lot of people don't trust Facebook so much, and apparently, use of Facebook social logins is really going downhill as sites are stripping that out, and people have realized that every time you see a Facebook sign-in button or a like button on a site, that means Facebook can see what you're doing there. And yeah, the fact that we do have these carriers that we pay actual money for, they give us this identifying, signal, the set of numbers. And most of them, not all MVNOs, they have actual real stores where if you have a problem with your account, you can go into it. So there is a possibility there that I really had not thought so much about. And it does make me think, for that matter, that broadband providers, they too have an option, except so many of them, Verizon actually pretty much outsourced its email to AOL, which is no longer even a part of the Verizon family. So, yeah, how many other places do you have this data point that identifies you universally around the world that you're paying money for, that there's a direct relationship, and this company knows where you live, which is not necessarily the case with Google or LinkedIn or Twitter or any of the other web services out there that want to be your ID for everywhere else.
And there's a lot of focus on identity for individuals, right? And is this individual going to use a stolen credit card to make a purchase? But, I'm also talking about the flip side, which is, does the consumer, know who they're dealing with as a business? We're moving into great technologies today that allow us to do massive volumes of identity assignment, right, and verification of identities. But on top of that, we're moving into the world of digital wallets and the ability to load credentials into those digital wallets and to protect those digital wallets so that we know they're valid as a consumer, that, that we can engage with this company and what can we engage them for and what have they been verified for. It's a very exciting time. And like I said, I'm just thrilled to hear.
Exciting or terrifying? I'm never quite sure which.
No, it'll be good. It'll be good because we got all these great people that can make it happen.
So TJ, your takeaways.
My takeaway was, number one, if the words that stuck out to me among all the conversations was trust, but also simplicity. I think we are a small group, yes, big industry and whatnot, but I think I've been in this long enough where I pretty much know every third person in this room. And it's just because if you've been long enough, you met everyone who's critical path to sending a message or processing a payment. And that trust is very important. But sometimes you get so stuck in the details that you forget that it's simple. And things don't have to be this complicated. And that's why, Pray.com was a great example where, let's not forget that the service we're building here as a group is really important and does good work. And that was my two takeaways. And the other takeaway was we need to talk more. I know the pandemic kind of put a little speed breaker in there, but because of there's an illusion of simplicity that text message has, right? I send a text message to you, Dario, and it just works. But everyone in this room knows it's never that simple.
This entire day has destroyed that illusion for me completely.
Yes, but that requires conversation. So we need to talk more. We need to communicate and connect more, no pun intended, on the fact that yes, RCS has great challenges ahead of it. Yes, we have issues with direct carrier billing and spam control and know your customer. But the only way you can solve it is not by sitting in your silos and writing code, but actually talking to each other and figuring out how to communicate and maintain that trust we have as an industry. So.
I guess, Dario, you get to have the last word as the paisan in chief here.
Paisan in chief, that's probably the correct identifier here. Well, I think I'm not going to say much more because we only have a minute and the party should be starting. I would like to hear from you, but I got a great reason. Well, first, the all members, and we do whatever you say. Secondly, we can do that with a drink in our hand, which is much easier and much better. So I would probably suggest we move to the next stage. But thanks for all your takeaways. Thanks for being here with us until the last minute. We love it. And a big thanks as well to Rob and to TJ for our multiple roles. Rob for being Master of Ceremonies right now.
Grazie.
TJ, you've been a Master of Ceremony and you've been behind it, really building the different path that took us here to connecting the people. So you've done more than 1 in 3. I think you brought a lot of the people here. So thanks double.